Our next speaker is Garry Gitzen. Gary, as I had mentioned, lives in Wheeler, Oregon. And he is going to present a very interesting map by Wright. And Gary, tell us in about 30 seconds what you do in real life, and then proceed with the map.
What I do in real life is I research, read, and play around a lot too, because I live at the coast.
That sounds good. That's what I do.
There you go. Yeah, it's because I'm retired for the last 10 or 12 years, whatever it is. I'm on the North Oregon
coast. I beat you. I've been essentially retired since '98.
What's that?
I've been retired since '97. I think we're doing the same things in different times. In any event, go ahead and tell us about this interesting map.
Yeah, I live on the North Oregon coast, which is we border the Nehalem Bay, and I have 5 points to cover about the Edward Wright map, which I discovered in the Hakluyt Handbook, which was written in 1974, and I didn't discover this until about 2013. And so what we're seeing here is only the Western Hemisphere portion of the map. And Edward Wright was a well-known mathematician. He was a skilled designer of mathematical instruments, and he was an accomplished cartographer. While he was teaching mathematics in 1589 at the college in Cambridge, Queen Elizabeth decided she wanted to have him as her cartographer, and he became the first Englishman to develop navigational charts. And he was sent on an expedition in 1588 that was led by Earl Cumberland to the Azores. And the Azores at the time was the prime meridian used for mapping at the time. Wright's chart first appeared in his book of 1589, Certain Errors of Navigation. His mathematical explanation of the map was the first published under the Mercator's projection. It's a method of making the round earth on a flat plane. Probably 99% of you understand that, I would hope. And it was for sailing courses and bearings, using it as straight lines rather than curved lines. Even though it may be a straight line, it's really a curved line on the earth. And this is the only map during Queen Elizabeth's reign, Queen Elizabeth I's reign, to display her her privy seal, which is in the upper left-hand corner. That's quite a large representation of her privy seal, which says, "I'm claiming this land." And the only other document that had her privy seal on it during her reign was the Molinois, Molinex, whatever. It's in French. I don't speak French. A globe of 1592. And so that's actually what Wright became involved. He's known to have worked on the chart. In fact, this map is also known as the Molyneux-Wright chart because he worked on the 1592 world chart with Molyneux. The Wright chart was the first appeared in Richard Hakluyt's 1599 volume of Principal Navigations, Voyages, Traffics, and Discoveries of the English and Nation. And this particular version that we're looking at is the 1600 version. And the only thing different is the cartouche in the center of and the bottom of this particular map here. And what that cartouche is really saying is that Francis Drake sailed around South America and discovered it was not just a point, it was a bunch of islands. And it goes on and talks about some other things too. It talks about Thomas Cavendish and talks about Pedro Sarmiento also. the importance of this map is Dr. Beers Quinn. He was the former president of the Hakluyt Society. Do most of the people understand what the Hakluyt Society is? I hope they are. They are actually the early recorder of early navigation in history. They have over 600 original volumes of early history. But he was the president. Beers was the president of the Hakluyt Society. Helen Wallace was the keeper of maps at the British Museum, and they both described this map by far as the most original Hakluyt maps and one of the most authoritative of the day. The map is a demonstration of the known land and sea as revealed by actual voyage of discovery. It contained no armchair fancies or flights or theoretical conjectures about the unknown. And that's a quote unquote of those people. Nova Albion, which is what we're looking at here, which is my specific area of research, is the land claimed by Francis Drake. And Nova Albion is a reference to New England, a name of England. And if you notice, it's between 42 and 48 degrees. And because it's, and you notice it's sort of tilted. And the reason why it's tilted is because according to Joaquin Gaspar, University of Lisbon, he says he's the leading authority on early map projections using modeling of early navigational charts. He says it's because of the dead reckoning. Dead reckoning or latitude, or longitude at the time was nearly impossible to determine. My writings in the area of research and writing, I saw someone else was promoting their book, so I'll promote my book a little bit. This is my book. I wrote this. It started in 2008. And this is Francis Drake in the Nehalem Bay in 1579. And of course, that map is not in here because this was written in 2008. I didn't discover this map until 2000, like I said, 13. Although I have written articles about it, they've been published in Terra Incognita. That's the journal of the Society for the History of Discoveries. So if you take this map and you use Phil Costaghini's discovery or the survey that I've lost my place here. Let me back up a second here. If you take the comparisons of the right chart and the discovery of a survey in 1971 by anthropologist Wayne Jensen on Neahkahnie Mountain here next to Nehalem Bay, and you take Phil Costaghini's 1982 civil engineering master's thesis titled Historical Discussion and Survey of Artifacts at Neahkahnie Mountain, Oregon. And according to Oregon's professor, George Schultz is one of the university's most quoted reports worldwide during the past 36 years. And it's a 3-year study of 184 pages, which documents the survey and navigational markers, and has been described as the most important Elizabethan artifacts in North America by Sam Balfe. I don't know if you know Sam Balfe's book. He wrote this in 2000, I believe, and that was Sam Balfe's book. And it's a very important thing for Oregon's history. So if you take the survey and you take the if you take the survey and you take the verification of the survey by the engineering master's thesis of Costaghini and Queen Elizabeth I's authentication by her privy seal of this right map, it says that Drake was in Oregon. He was never in California. I'm sorry, folks, but that's a fact. And that's all I had to say.
Well, we'll have to evaluate that.
Yes, you will. You know, this is not just something that came up in about 2 years' work. This is 26 years of study. I've done studies of Indians. I've done studies of topography and geography and flora and fauna. It all fits. There is nothing that I have to add as far as conjecture. It's all there. It's all written already. In fact, anyone who has ever read my book realizes that. And by the way, you can check out anything you want at www.fortnehalem.com. Or I'm the president of the Sir Francis Drake Association in Oregon. you can also try our Sir Francis Drake Association.org and find the information too. So
Nice. Thank you.
thanks for all your time. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Gary.